Welcome, everybody. We are live. This is Deep Funding Town Hall number 36. And it is Thursday, June 27th, 2024. Welcome, everybody. Share with us where you're tuning in from today. If you can, turn on your camera because it's always lovely to see everybody's face. For everyone that's new here and has never been in a Deep Funding Town Hall and you're wondering what Deep Funding is SingularityNET's decentralized grants program, which funds AI builders and creators that help us grow and advance the SingularityNET marketplace. And our town halls is a place where the community of AI builders comes together to discuss topics they're enthusiastic about and also to decide on the future of the Deep Funding program. So, Deep Funding Round 4 is officially closed, and congratulations to all the awarded teams. We have 29 awarded teams, I believe. Which is fantastic. I can't believe it's already over. It went so fast, honestly. Thank you for everybody. Thank you to everybody that contributed, that voted, that rated proposals, reviewed proposals. I mean, what a massive community effort. And so many people contributed to the
It was a job.
Sorry?
It was a great job. Congratulations, everyone.
Yeah, massive community effort. We couldn't have done it without the contribution of the community. In today's town hall, everyone is going to be able to get a transparent inside look what I guess went on behind the curtains, so to say, if you can say that in a decentralized space. I mean, you can technically always access, always ask what's going on, but today we're gonna you're going to be able to get an update from the Deep Funding circles, the expert reviewers, and the focus group on what process they used to rate and review proposals, and you'll find out what impact each group had. So we're still waiting for Raphael, I think. Let's see. I guess we'll get started without Raphael.
Judith, sorry. Rafa asked me to do the expert reviews comment, and I have to leave like in 1 hour. Just you to keep that in mind. Just wanted to tell you that.
Yeah, no, we can. I mean, we don't have an order set. We can absolutely start with the expert reviewers if you would like. Let me just quickly check in the room if anybody has a question before we get started or any request. If not, I suppose we can get started. Yeah, Ines, would you like to give us an update and a little overview over the process the expert reviewers used?
Yeah, of course. Do you think we should wait for Rafa or just go ahead? What do you think?
I really don't know how long he's going to be because he is still due to give the update for Deep Funding in the all hands meeting.
Cool.
He's like he's one of the last presenters there, so I'm really not sure how much overtime they're running. He said he was going to leave the meeting a few minutes ago, but yeah, I'm not sure if they're delayed.
Cool. So we can start with the expert reviews. Great, I can do that.
Yeah.
Rafa asked me to do this sort of presentation so I can explain a little bit to everyone how was the process of the expert reviews. So that's what I'm going to do now. I was the lead of the RFP design pool, expert review team. We had different expert reviewers, expert review team, sorry, for the different categories. The biggest categories had like 4 or 5 teams, I guess. But well, RFP design was a smaller category. We had 9 proposals only. So I was with my team. We were 4 members in my team, and it was really a very interesting experience because we were people from really from all the corners of the world. We had one, of course, Argentina from the LATAM. We have Crypto Beijing from China. We had Eddie from Africa, and we had also Harry from Europe. So it was like really scheduling and managing all the time zones was, of course, a challenge. But we made it through. So it was a nice experience. So well, let me explain a little bit how the process was, so everyone can understand. One of the rules of the expert reviews is that, well, of course, you have to be members of the community that already had experience in the deep funding, and most of us were awarded team members and members of also from the broader SingularityNET ecosystem. And one of the rules was that we couldn't be reviewing proposals of our own, of the same pool that we submitted a proposal, right? So that was one of the things we had in mind in the whole process. And the guys like Rafa and Jan and Major, they were all very involved in that, and they took very care of that. So well, I was with the RFP design, which was actually beautiful for me because I had the chance to study a little bit and understand it a little bit better, because it's a difficult pool for some of us. Like, we are not really in this tech world and we are trying to understand it. And it was nice to understand the concept of an RFP. And well, basically the RFP design pool, it was a pool where people could submit ideas to that. If they got funded, they could be developed in RFPs, right? So, well, as I was saying, my team, we were 4 of us. We had 9 proposals to review. And the process was basically, well, we had a first stage where we had to do individual reviews. Okay, we had to review each one of every proposals. Basically, by the 4, how was the name that Rafa? Yeah, the 4 categories of reviewing, that it was feasibility, viability, desirability, and usability was the other word. Well, here I have it. Usefulness, sorry. So we had to first make individual reviews according to that categories. That was like personal and anonymous. And then when we finished doing that, we had to put up this meeting with the 4 members, which was, as I was saying, quite a challenge, because it was like China, Argentina, and well, we managed to find a time slot for that, but then Crypto Beijing didn't understood the time, and well, so we couldn't meet everyone finally. But we worked async with the doc, and now I'm going to share a little bit how was that process. Everybody had to do recommendations, okay, of the proposals. Of the 9 proposals, we had to choose the ones that we recommended. We agreed that appropriate cool number was 3, because we had like 9 proposals and 3 recommended. We thought that was fine. And each member shared their preferences and their recommendations according to these 4 criteria, and then and the rationale on why they choose that, right? And then we had this consensus meeting where we tried to reach a consensus, the 4 of us, right? Well, actually, we were 3 because Crypto Beijing couldn't make it, but we needed to be at least 3 to get the consensus. That was one of the rules, okay? So we reached the consensus from a democratic voting basis. Like, we weren't aligned in every recommendations, but we use the sociocratic method, where we consider that the reasons given by the reviewers were sufficient and safe enough to try. That was kind of the concept we had. So we choose the ones that we did align, and the ones that we didn't, we tried to argue and explain why we choose them, right? So it was like, really, it was a very smooth process. We had a really nice conversation. We reached consensus easily. We didn't fight or anything. We argumented and shared rationales, and it was a very smooth process, actually. And then Crypto Beijing, that wasn't on the meeting, he shared his insights as well, and his recommended proposals. And well, we used the same process of the consensus sociocratic method, but I think it works really fine, actually. And what else can I share? I had something here. Oh, yeah. Also, we have to choose an average number, like for the punctuation, right? For the proposal. So Harry shared this Excel where he put up the average numbers, because he's great doing numbers. I am terrible with numbers and Excel, so I didn't do that. We also had to put up this paragraph explaining the rationale on why we had recommended these proposals. So based on the notes that I recollected from the meeting, I put up a paragraph, because I'm a writer and it was easy for me. I put up a paragraph, I shared with the group, and when they gave me their approval, then I put up everything in the Google form. So I think that was all. Yeah, I think that was pretty much the whole process, basically. But it was very interesting, and it wouldn't like in a personal level, I think it was very nice to see that we were like collaborating and cooperating, and we were like really open in what everybody thought about the recommendations. We were like sharing insights, then why did we choose what we choose? And it was a really, really like nurturing process. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. And my team went really well, actually. At first, I thought that it was going to be a little challenge, but then it went pretty smooth. So, well, yeah, it was very nice, everything. I don't know. I think that's everything, Judith. I don't know if anybody has some questions or comments.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, let's see if anyone has a question or a comment. I guess I would like to ask if there.
Can I say something?
Oh, yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I think that being an expert reviewer must be really hard. I think that you have to be really objective, and it takes a lot of time to read all the proposals. Given that deep funding is only 4 rounds, a lot of proposals must be very, very good, and others must be kind of weird to read, but it must take a lot of time. So thank you for everyone who review the proposals. And seems like a really hard job to connect with the crypto Beijing's guy.
It
So
was,
thank you again, expert reviewers.
yeah, it was, but Crypto Beijing is like the coolest guy. So he was like really, oh yeah, Inez, yeah, like he was really available, and yeah, it was really nice. And I can put a question. How did it go to organize so many time slots with so many projects in the time available? Well, yeah, it was difficult. Hi Ken, how are you? It was difficult, but I don't know, mysteriously we find a way. A time zone, but as I said, that Crypto Beijing couldn't make it. So but the thing was that we didn't have a lot of time, so we have to be like really, really practical and pragmatical. I am like really like, I love doing things, like I love doing, so yeah. Judith, did you had a question also? I think you said something about it.
Yeah, I was just wondering if there was anything along the way where you thought, oh, we should have done that completely differently, or we want to do it differently next time. Is there anything that crosses your mind?
Yeah, I thought that maybe instead of recommending only 3, maybe we should have recommended 4, because there was one more proposal that I think that was amazing, and we couldn't we didn't recommend it, and I think that was a mistake. I would like maybe if I had a second opportunity, yeah, I would be like a little bit more flexible and also rigid, like we have to do only 3, like, well, be like more flexible,
Okay, thank you for sharing. Uvio, you have your hand up.
Yeah,
and
so
Tommy as well. I don't know who was first. Sorry, I didn't see who was first.
Hi, Uvio.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, for me, Ines, I just want to know, how did you guys arrive at what the limits for each particular pool should be? And speaking this, if you can also extend this to probably other pools, because maybe somebody's thinking, why was it 3 here? Why was it 9 that was recommended here? Why was it 2 here?
Mm-hmm.
And all of that. So was there any specific reasoning behind that?
Well, no, I mean, it was just like a reasonable, how do you say in English? Common sense, like we didn't had a lot of time to do this job, and we were a lot of teams, so we couldn't actually like really talk to each other, It wasn't like we had meetings, like, no, it was like everything was like really quick. Like in my team that I was leading, I decided that it would be 3 because we had 9 proposals. So I thought that 3 was like the correct number, like I think, well, yeah, we have to do 3 and that's it. That was my reasoning, like just common sense, but I don't know how the other teams reached to the numbers that they reached, because of course new projects was way more difficult because they had a lot of projects. We only have 9, so our job was easier in a way,
Tommy, you have your hand up.
Yes, I do. And it's great report. Thank you. I also had fun doing the expert review, so I know some of the conundrum that you went through. Let me ask you a pointed question about experimentation and deep funding. This is, I believe, the second round where expert reviewers were used. I don't know if you're aware of what percentage of the expert reviews got voted in Deep Funding 4. But going forward, do you think that to avoid voter fatigue that expert reviewers should replace all other reviews and comments?
No, definitely not. Yeah, Tommy, thank you for your question because it was great. I had the same question actually. I didn't check if all of the proposals that we recommended were voted. We know that one did, that it was Daniel's RFP voting system, but I didn't check the others. So that's a very interesting question actually, because, okay, so what's the relation between the expert reviews and the actual voting, right? That's an interesting thing to analyze and think.
Let me,
But no, I don't think, yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
Hi, Rafa.
27. Hey. Sorry, 27%. It was the number of recommended proposals that went through the awarding. Sorry again.
Sorry, Rafa,
Okay.
what did you say? I didn't get the data again. Say it again, please.
27% of
27.
the recommended, yes, of the recommended proposals got it.
That's a good number. And about the other thing you were mentioning, Tommy, about the possibility of like just having expert reviews to avoid voting fatigue. Well, of course, this is a personal take, right? But I think no, I think that's not a good idea. I mean, I think that maybe we should have some way of resuming the proposals, just like a resume. I'm thinking about the catalyst that in a way has this with the reviews. Maybe this is helpful, but I think that the community reviews are beautiful and we cannot like lose them, you know?
Thank you. I appreciate it. And by the way, that was a soft serve question because I knew Raphael knew the percentage, so I knew he'd step in and answer it. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, Ennis.
And I also clarified the
it's
numbers, okay, in the chat. Sorry again.
By the way, hi,
Yeah, well.
Raphael. Hi, Raphael. Thanks for jumping on after the long SingularityNET meeting. We started without you, so sorry about that.
No, thank you. Thank you for starting without me. Indeed, I was at the all hands, and sorry everyone for being late here, but it was also important. And this is the beauty of the decentralization and to have such a great community members like Judith, Ines, and all of you to it turns the program, the funding, more resilient, right? When we are not available because you are sick or you are attending another meeting or whatever it is, you know that you have skilled and competent and reliable people that also can go through the task and accomplish. Thank you very much, Judith and all.
Ines, is there anything you wanted to add, or has everybody's question been answered? If yes, then I suppose we can jump on to the next group. And Raphael, I don't know if you have a set order.
No, I haven't, but I'm glad that we started with Ines as well. I would say that since I am late here, I don't want to jump into the window of the airplane here. If you want, please, Judith, you can go on and ask more circles to give their
Yeah, well, let's see who's there. Do we have someone from the focus group before we go to the circles? Maybe we can see if someone from the focus group wants to give their update and review.
Ubio, you going to present?
Okay, yeah. So for us at the focus group, it was a different experience altogether, right? while the voting was going around, we had to somehow have our ears on the ground to see what is going on and to try to advise Raphael and Jan on what we think should be the best way to navigate issues that were coming up or issues that we're sensing as well. A lot we can speak to, but maybe we'll just point to two specifically. One was the was the issues of the pools and the amount of allocations that were being awarded to certain pools. So I think I can recall when we had to advise that we think I think if I can recall clearly that the amount like for the marketing pool should be somehow structured differently in order to both capture two things. One, to be able to enable a lot of people to apply, and then capture the essence of not just having smaller proposals, but also not allowing it to be infinite, because we identified that so far as there is no cap, then people would keep on proposing and trying to get the maximum out of the bag. So we try to advise that, and I think Raphael took that advice, and Jan, and I think that turned out to be something positive for us. Yeah. The next that came out from us was recently during the voting, during the voting period, it was an advice from the focus group after we discussed on a whole lot of metrics. We felt that it would be wise for us to not to use the voting tool that was brought up by Fortrek as one, because we felt it was a little bit too quick for us to do that. We were prone to a lot of bugs, and because we still needed to have a lot more conversation as a community on do we truly agree to the algorithms and to certain stuff from that was being developed. So we felt, okay, so we're going to do two things, right? One, we are going to use the tool based on the old algorithms that we've been using, right? So apparently there was nothing changing. So we didn't necessarily, it's just that this tool was rather using the prior algorithms, right? And then the second thing we now said was, okay, we are going to run a parallel voting scenario whereby we would be able to see what would have been the result if we were using the Fortrek tool and the Fortrek algorithm, right? So that was being developed, right? So I think this was the model that was being adopted. So I think in subsequently that result we would be able to see, and so that we can compare and make adjustment and see if this is the direction we want to go through, and probably have a community discussion on how we want, and then also have the opportunity to use that tool on a real life scenario situation before generally adopting it. So these were like two very important. This does not mean that there were a lot of other conversations that the Deep Funding, the Deep Focus group had with Raphael and Jan while the process was going. But I think these are two outstanding ones that needs to be mentioned.
Sorry, what was the last sentence you said?
I said that there were a lot of other conversations that and advice that the team gave to Raphael and Jan in different ways and in different forms, but these two are the most outstanding that needs to be highlighted.
Okay, thank you. Great. Sorry, were you finished with your review report?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, let's see if there's any questions in the room first. I see no hands up. Oh yeah, Joanna?
Yeah, hi, can you guys hear me? Sorry, I'm calling in from the car. Okay, awesome. Yeah, no, I don't have a question. I just have a minor clarification. So the Fortran team, alongside the tool that we developed to calculate the results, we also came up with new algorithms to improve the current algorithms that were used for the voting calculations. And that was what was taken back to the focus group to discuss whether the new algorithms would be implemented or we would keep the current algorithms that have been used over the previous funds. And then, like Ubio mentioned, later do an analysis to compare the new algorithms versus the other ones. So the tool was used still using the current algorithms, but it was just to automate some of the calculations as to not have any manual errors. But then moving forward, hopefully within our next milestone, we'll have a community discussion to just look over the new algorithms and maybe discuss next steps onto how those could be implemented or what the next steps would be in regards to what Ubio mentioned as part of the focus group discussion. But yeah, just wanted to mention that. But thanks again for your input. And it was very last minute, I think, when the new algorithms came out and everything would, happened so quickly and streamlined. So thank you for the focus group as well, and for Jan for clarifying those prior to us completing the tool.
Thank you, Joanna. Let me see. We had Rojo in our group chat on Madamos saying that he would like to present, but I don't see him here unless he has a different name.
Yeah, it seems he's not. But if I may, Judith, I would like to, considering this call is around transparency and etc., right? And processes, actually, to explain processes. It's very important to make the note that throughout the round itself, at least myself, I also already saw Ian doing it. We rely a lot in the focus group expertise and ability to deal with a lot of hurdles that we encounter. So instead of taking a centralized decision towards sometimes minor processes and etc. that might affect the community and impact the round, we go to the focus group and talk to them about, hey, we have this issue here, so we would like to understand your point of view and perspective into what's going on. And I have to say that normally, almost 100% times, at least myself, I follow what the focus group members say, because it's a very high standard conversation and feedback that they are able to deliver to us. So I am also telling you this for you to understand that it's through this process, sometimes you might be willing, okay, it's only 1-2 persons taking care and deciding on everything. So this here harmed me in some way, but in reality, we are a group of people that are taking these decisions and mostly relying also on the community feedback for the most of the situations. So I thought it was important to also reinforce this concept of the focus group.
Yeah, it's great to have a team of advisors, I suppose. I see Rojo is in the room. Rojo, did you want to give an update?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, sorry for being late. I don't know if most of you here know, but before I was mostly involved in the review circle, and from that there was a divergence into a bit of an initiative into automating processes and creating new processes sometimes even, and that created a new circle. Which I am currently co-leading with Mayor. I think Mayor is here in the room as well. Yeah, basically what we're currently doing is we're going through a lot of the manual work that has been done before, and we're trying to optimize it. That could take a lot of shapes and forms. Sometimes it's just as simple as creating a form and linking it with a sheet, and sometimes it's a bit more involved. Currently, we're working on contract processes, contract creation automation. That's basically the kind of the most important thing we're working on currently. Later on, we will be looking at dashboarding, and that will be mainly for the team from Circles, for reviewers and admins and all. And it will also regard perhaps awarded teams. So awarded teams will have a little bit more data about their milestones and what's going on behind the scenes. I don't know if you have any specific question. Perhaps I can answer that.
Mayor, did you want to add anything since you're both in the same circle?
Actually, the circle was created very new. It was mostly Brujo doing the entire thing in that circle until I started to join and do other things. But on operations, I would just want to say that I've just been responsible for taking recommending proposal, like putting the expert review tag on the proposal in the website. And I've also been doing I was also in charge of awarding the projects on the website and taking out the projects that weren't awarded back to drafts and all those kind of things. So it's what we have been doing in the operations, more like doing the entire backbone stuff. That's what the operation circle is going to be all about. And yeah, it was mostly Rojo until I started helping.
Okay, great. Yeah, is there any questions in the room? Any hands up?
And if there aren't any questions, I would like to add little, I mean, a couple of sentences perhaps. Perhaps there are a couple of awarded team members here, and obviously there is what you see, which is your regular interactions with Jan and Raphael, or maybe some of the review team members. But there's a lot of like a tremendous effort behind whether it's the review or whether it's the marketing team that keeps you updated about what's actually going on. And perhaps you don't see this. I see Tommy here. We started as co-leads for the review circle. I miss those times. How are you, Tommy? But yeah, I mean, and we're currently updating ourselves. We're doing a lot of efforts to actually make it easy for you to receive your funds whenever you actually finish your milestones, to make it seamless for you. Just you're done, and then you get your money, and that gets you boosted for the next milestones and all. But yeah, we mess up sometimes. We do that sometimes, and yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We keep improving.
Raphael?
Yeah, thank you. It's also important to make this note, because normally what you see when you are a proposer is the round, right? The round that is happening. So I have to submit, I have to correct my submission, I have to wait for reviews, I have to go to the voting, I have to vote, etc., and then wait for the answer, the voting results, and etc. But it's very important that proposers know that on the other side, we are not only managing and making happen the round itself, but we are also working in the previously awarded teams, which are many. We have many projects ongoing that are happening while we are also handling the current round. And the importance of what Rojo and Mayo are doing is exactly to keep things going while we have this superstar round happening. Everybody has its eyes on their eyes on the round, but things have to go on in a parallel process, right? So Rojo is taking care about the automation part, where it's going to reduce a lot our overhead. Instead of bringing more and more hurdles into it, we have to be scalable because the number of projects and proposers and teams are increasing exponentially. So this is very important. And also we have to have, while we are not there, we have to have someone taking care of updating these websites, portals. How many of you that are in Telegram, for instance, saw some members or awarded teams from previous rounds asking, hey, my details page in the portal is not right. I delivered the milestone 2 and we are only at the milestone 1 at the portal. So this is still a manual process, and that's why it's so important to have here the impact that Mayor and Rojo brings into it. It's fundamental for us to give the quality that awarded teams deserve during the regular process of delivering milestones and delivering the project itself. So thank you very much, Mayor and Rojo, for supporting us and doing this work as well. And I have to mention that Mayor, he also doing the work as coordinator in the review circle, eligibility review, milestone review, everything, and also taking care about a lot of things in the operation side. I mean, updating portal with links and videos that come from the marketing circle, with the teams giving status reports, sending monthly surveys to the teams that were previously awarded for them to give the feedback. So it's a whole structure that we have to have behind it, okay? And yes, now he's probably going to be more focused in it, but we are seeing a very nice path to go into these rounds, which are not recurrent, I mean, ongoing things and the ongoing things.
Let me see if there's any more questions in the room. No hands up currently. All right. Are we missing a circle other than a marketing circle? Is there anybody that, well, we went through all the people that said in the Mattermost group that they want to give an update. So I'm just wondering, I don't think there's anybody left. It's just a marketing circle. So I suppose I'll go ahead since I'm part of the marketing circle. Well, how do I say it? It was an absolute crazy couple of weeks for us. We had originally started when Mauro traveled to Spain. We met up in person and we had a long discussion on what we would love to see. And we were starting to dream of what amazing proposals we could receive and what's hopefully coming in. We had a long list of what we would love to see in the marketing pool. And we also had a long list of what we definitely don't, or what we don't think is a priority in the marketing pool. We had decided that just the 2 marketing circle delegates will be reviewing proposals, but then we thought we should make it a bit more decentralized, and we asked the entire marketing circle, which is currently 5 members. It's JP, Anna, Lucas, Mauro, and myself. We asked everybody to give their recommendations. So we had a very similar process to what Ines described. First, we had our we all made our individual reviews, and in the marketing pool there was around 50 submissions, so it was a lot of work. And Mauro and myself, we each reviewed all 50 individually, and I think Anna, Lucas, and JP, I'm not sure if they all did 50 as well. I think some members did maybe around 20. Either way, it was a lot of proposals, and the challenge was that I guess a deadline for us to review and make our final decision was around June 2nd, I think. But the week before, we had the 3 spotlight days. So the marketing circle was extremely busy. So we didn't even manage to review everything right on the deadline. I think we took two days more because we were just overworked. And on top of that, Mauro and myself got sick. So we were barely managing to even find a day where we could all meet to have our group meeting. But then we finally had our group meeting, and we had everybody put in their recommendation with a short explanation of why they felt that way and what kind of criteria they used to choose their favorites. I don't think in the group meeting we fully were aligned and we fully agreed on everything. But before, we had decided that just the 2 marketing circle delegates will make the final decision. And when I had the second call with Mauro, we were pretty much aligned on the favorites, and we ended recommending 4 proposals. And I mean, of course, we took the recommendations from the entire marketing circle into consideration. And I guess at the end of the day, yes, I guess we pretty much agreed on some of the really strong ones. And then, yeah, we ended up only, I guess, recommending 4 out of the almost 50. What else? What was really challenging was there were so many proposal submissions, but they were so similar. It was basically 4 categories. There was a lot of proposals that came in that wanted to do translations, translate existing content into whatever language, Chinese, Portuguese, whatever. There was a lot of proposals for online events, town halls, and live events, community events, hackathons. There was a lot of proposals where we want to create a separate community, like a regional community, an African community, a Vietnamese community. And then there was a lot of proposal submissions that just wanted to create social media posts. So that was basically the 4 categories, and it was extremely difficult to choose because they were so similar. So we kind of had to decide, we want to choose these proposals that are translating into one language, but then what is our reasoning for not choosing the other ones that want to translate in the other language? It was just really difficult to choose between so many similar proposals. And then at the end of the day, what we really had to look at was the quality of how the proposal was written. So if there wasn't a proper team description, or if it was really apparent they didn't put a lot of effort into the description, or there was AI used for creating the proposal, that's when, we decided that we wouldn't choose them, although they were maybe very similar in the idea to what we ended up choosing. So yeah, that was definitely a challenge. I think that was pretty much it. Overall, I would say it was a smooth process, also because we received so much good guidance from Raphael and Jan in terms of how the process is supposed to look, and they gave us resources and sheets and explanations. So we felt pretty confident about the process. Yeah, the challenges definitely was the time pressure and half of the team getting sick. But yeah, we made it at the end of the day. Tommy, you have your hand up.
Great, fantastic report. And I would not have wanted to been in your shoes with the amount of proposals that were received, and some of the quality. Going forward, and this is kind of like something the focus group would tackle. And this is a personal, my personal feeling. And I want to ask you, going forward in round 5, there is the SingularityNET Ambassadors program. And the ambassadors have certain parameters for marketing. They have a marketing department in the ambassadors, and those that are involved kind of know what they're about. Deep funding, and the deep funding program, as I understand it, is to expand deep funding and builders and coders and stuff like that, loosely paraphrased. A lot of the proposals that came in for marketing this round were for doing what I see as the ambassadors' work. It was for promoting SingularityNET for all different types of reasons, not necessarily for promoting deep funding as its own organization. Going forward, and this is something that the focus group would kind of tackle and push back on Raphael and Jan, or provide friction, and we would discuss it, debate it. We would involve Marketing Circle, or they would involve us. But I'm asking you personally, do you think going forward in round 5 for marketing, that proposals submitted to expand SingularityNET per se and not deep funding should be permitted? Should they be in the bailiwick of what marketing for deep funding is about?
Well, thank you for the question. I'd say that's extremely difficult to decide on, because when someone comes into the SingularityNET ecosystem, eventually they hopefully end up also in the deep funding ecosystem, right? So we cannot dismiss it as, oh, this is not valuable at all. Like, if you promote SingularityNET, they're not gonna end up at deep funding. I mean, we can say. I suppose we'll have to see what got funded right now. We'll have to see how it works out, and kind of have an impact analysis after the milestones got rewarded. I personally had the exact same concern with what you just raised. I actually went as far as saying we should shut down the marketing pool and only do marketing as an RFP process, and just have really strict rules and guidelines on what we're going to be accepting and what not. But that's just me as a German. So.
Well, no, and that's fantastic. And as a follow-up, I just want to say, I mean, part of what I questioned is, are we, if we fund those, aren't we duplicating what's being done in the SingularityNET Ambassador program, and often for a lot less fiat? But also, as a side note, one of the in the Cardano ecosystem, the originators of the system had what should be 5 funding pools after everything was settled, and they go through this next fork that they're doing. And the one that the originators said should get the most amount of money in Catalyst funding was marketing. And yet Catalyst has continued to ignore that. So in your suggestion to do away with the marketing pool, I would say, maybe not so quick. Maybe not so quick on doing away with it. I'm just don't want to waste, as a businessman, I don't want to waste communities' funds if we're duplicating the ambassador program and deep funding. And that's really why I'm playing devil's advocate here.
But that's exactly why I would say an RFP process would make more sense. So we avoid the duplication and all of that. We had the same problem in the last round, where there was a project that got double funded, and we're seeing it now again. Like, we have 2 of the African communities that got funded. It's also double funded, and they got funded from the ambassadors program as well. So maybe it's even triple funded. But it's also a concern I raised a couple of months ago, and someone said, well, maybe that's not so much of a problem, because now we can see who does the best job. So maybe that's also an opportunity to see who puts the most effort, who's really the strong group, who can we rely on. I mean, there might be drastic difference in how they execute, right? Or maybe they give us completely different ideas on how to do something. Like right now we have 2 projects funded that want to do African, the one says town hall, the other says, I guess, African online events, Deep Funding and SingularityNET related. I suppose it's similar to a town hall. But I mean, it would be interesting to see how the 2 different groups executed, and maybe we can get ideas from those different executions. I mean, of course, there's a concern that, oh, is that money down the drain? Should we double fund things? It's not ideal, but at the end of the day, right now, we can prevent it, right? The community decides what they want to see funded. So right now we're going to have to turn it around into an opportunity, make the best out of it, and use it as an experiment. And then going forward, I suppose, yeah, what we said is either implement more RFP processes or put more rules in the marketing pool, that it's a bit more organized, because we saw so many projects, they were technically useful and great ideas, but they went also way overboard with requesting funding. I mean, it was really not a good return for money. And I remember I was looking at the first 10 proposals and I got so upset to the point that I had to physically close my laptop and go outside and breathe, because I was so upset at how much money they requested for minor tasks that you can do in 30 minutes with AI. I got so upset. And I was thinking about all the kids in Africa that don't have anything to eat. And here we are throwing $50,000 possibly at someone that wants to do AI translations, which I can do in 2 minutes. I got so upset at some of the proposals, but yeah, we'll definitely either put out some RFPs where we can, I guess, be a little bit stricter on what we want, or we'll just put up a few more marketing rules. But for now, it is what it is, and I'm still excited to see everyone implementing and to see what comes out of it. But yeah, thank you for the question. Anybody else has any questions? Let me see. We have, oh my God, we have so many, and I don't know who was first. Does anybody know who was first?
I think Gabriel is first, then me, and then Major DeFi.
Okay, go ahead. Gabriel is first.
Yeah, hi folks. Interesting conversation there. I'm just going to throw a few ideas out there. I think having all of those marketing folks should go, I think the funding should be phased into gates. So one phase would be finding similar projects. If people are interested in marketing initiative, they should get together, and that peer group should act as the first filter. So it shouldn't get through to folks like Judith with 200 proposals to review. What Judith should end up with is a refined list of collaborative proposals. If 3 different groups want to do meetup groups in Timbuktu, they should get together and talk about it between each other and figure out how they would collectively approach it and think of the roles that they would have and come up with a decent, the best possible proposal that they can between themselves. And then they bring that forward as a proposal into the funding round. So it would be phased and gated and peer reviewed with relevance to the people that are interested, so we get better quality and less duplication. That was one suggestion. The other thing is I'm concerned to hear that Judith is, I think what I've heard is that her and teammates got sick because of the workload they had trying to meet a deadline to review proposals?
We
or they
didn't
just
get sick.
happened to-
We didn't get sick because of the
Okay, but
deadline. We
even
just happened
okay.
to get sick for random reasons in the same week, Mauro and I,
Okay.
which
That's
wasn't
pretty
great.
That's pretty bizarre, but where, Judith, where you say that you ended up having to close your laptop and go outside because of anxiety and stress and whatever, then I'm suggesting that the workload that you had is not very healthy. And I think together the community should be able to do something about that. I don't have a suggestion, but it's a concern.
No, that wasn't because of the workload, though. That was simply because I
Right.
got so upset that some community members requesting so much money for a proposal that seems like so little work, or also proposals that they clearly didn't put a lot of work in. It wasn't the workload that made me so upset. It was some of the audacity, I suppose. Excuse my language, but I'm just very, very passionate. Well, not passionate, but the return on investment for me as someone who also has invested in startups is extremely important to me. And I guess it's almost like I think it's my own money that's on the table, but it's obviously not. So maybe I shouldn't even get that upset. But I guess I need to be a bit more detached from the whole process. That might help. But thank you for your suggestions. Sorry, Gabriel, are you still there? Or did I get kicked out?
No, I'm still here.
Okay.
Yeah, to Ali.
Yeah, Ali, you were next.
Yeah. So I feel like, when I don't know how to explain. In Argentina, there are TV shows where people start to do, I wouldn't say polemic statements, but kind of, and you're like, what's going to happen next? But I understand Judith's side, and I understand also the other side. I wasn't going to talk about it because I 100% not know or didn't fully read the two proposals Judith is talking about. I have seen them, and I understand when you read some proposals, not really talking about any proposals in deep funding, but other grants, every grant I have seen, where people is like, I'm going to do 5 images to do 5 tweets, and it's like $1,000. No, $1,000. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know if it's that expensive to make for graphics. So I understand what she's pointing, but let's not throw to marketing, the marketing pool, all the guilt, because I think that there are some marketing proposals, not talking about mine particularly, but marketing in general, proposals that could really potentiate the ecosystem, and people that really trust in what marketing has to offer and the power of it. Like, I'm a YouTuber, so I have worked with lots of brands. I think that what I do is really cool, and that I have helped these brands grow. So I would say that marketing is a good tool to have. And yeah, but that aside, that I think other people is going to talk about, I see all the raised hands. I was going to say that we came today to the town hall because we thought it was like Winners Day, and I was like, am I going to talk today? But now I understand that it was more to the circle reviewers, and I had a really nice time. But we have to leave with Tommy because we have to enter another call, that we have the people waiting for 8 minutes. Thank you for the time. I hope that everyone has a good time and have a good and respectful debate, because what Judith is pointing out, I don't think is like her saying that people are trying to do weird things, but more of, hey, let's try to do this experience as fruitful for the ecosystem as possible. That said, I want to say that thank you everyone who voted for us. We are NERCONF. We proposed on the marketing pool to do a build-a-thon as a side event for the DevCon. We got selected. So thank you very much for everyone who voted. See you next town hall, because me and Tommy, we have to leave. But excited for what's going to come next. And yeah, let's go, SNET.
Thank you,
And if you're in
Alex.
Thailand by November, let's meet.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, for
If
sure.
you're from Asia or you are going to go there, talk to us. We are currently talking with 10 communities approx that are going to be there. So if you're going to be there, let's talk. Thank you.
Yes, for sure. And for everyone who can't make it in person, I guess we're really looking forward to the content that's going to come out of the event, because you seem to be really good and creative at making content. So
Thank you. Yeah, I believe that it's going to be really interesting. Even Basu, we're going to do a build-a-thon and some workshops, and also some talks introducing Deep Funding and SNET, among other topics. And Basu is going to help us with the educational content. I know he's in the educational guild, if I'm not mistaken. So he's going to be a good help. And see you soon, Basu. We are going to talk about the the content. So hopefully we're going to do a very nice job.
For
We are
sure.
really looking for it. We have Seed Latam, that's an organization. We talked to them today. We are doing a governance day with some DAOs on the same week as DevCon 2. So we were like, yeah, we can help each other. So we have some volunteers already. And yeah, expecting who's going to be like, I'm dying to see who's going to be the filmmaker and the photographer. We are really excited. I don't know. I just wanted to say that. Thank you. And thank you for this opportunity. It means a lot to us. Like, we can't believe it. Everyone said congratulations. And we are talking to everyone about like, hey, maybe you should propose to the funding next time. Because we know lots of creative and really hardworking builders of the Web3 community, not only in Latam, but worldwide. So yeah, let's go. Let's
Amazing.
spread the word.
Amazing.
yes,
Thank you very
please.
much,
That
Alex.
sounds
Thank you very much.
great. See you
And
soon.
if you
Bye
live
bye.
in Europe and
See
you
you
have a
guys.
spare couch in October, please let us know.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice.
Right, sorry to just jump in, sorry. El, before you leave, we are sharing a survey. I will explain it more, but you may want to just check this link I just put in before you leave. I will explain the survey later, but just before you leave here.
Perfect. I click on it, so I'll do the survey in like 1 hour maybe. Now we gotta run. Thank you, Obvio. Thank you, everyone. Rafa, Judy, Jan, Tommy, and everyone who's in this call that we know. Basu, and yeah, see you soon. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye
Bye.
bye. See you soon. All right, we
Thank you.
have
Judith, Mayor had to leave. That's why he is last now. He would be the first one, so it's important for him to also contribute.
oh yeah, sure.
Okay.
Mayor, go
Mayor?
ahead.
Okay. I would just want to talk about what the review circle has done for round 4. The other time I had the opportunity to speak was more on Operation Circle and all. So let me just dive into what review circle has been doing. We actually had saw that there is going to be a lot more proposal. We even thought it was going to be more than 210. So we prepared for about 300, 350 and thereabout. But so that's the reason we had to recruit 5 new members into the review circle, and yeah, we spread out a form for people to fill and show their interest and all. And out of the entire banks of people that we got, we we onboarded 5 new reviewers into both pools, both technical and the business. And then Ralph made mention that the review cycle should be more like coaches during the submission period. So we decided to be that coach. So we decided to divide our eligibility phase into 2. So we have the phase 1 and then the phase 2. The phase 1 was as proposals are coming in, we review them, and wherever we feel like these proposals can be improved upon or does not meet a particular pool requirement, conditions, and all that, we actually sent mails to the proposals for them to make those changes before the submission period ends. And I think we successfully sent mails to about 15 proposals out of 80 which was submitted in before the last 3 days, and then I think after during the last 3 days of the submission period, we got from 80 to about 210, which is like the current amount. So for the first 80 proposals that we had the time to review on this first stage, we sent mails to about 15 for them to make corrections, some of which made this correction and some maybe they didn't check their mail to see these corrections that we pointed out to them, and yeah, some didn't make these corrections. So at the end of the day, they were more like ineligible because of these minor criteria that they didn't meet. And then we started evaluating these proposals for both phases. We evaluated these proposals on different conditions. If they are in the right pool, if they meet the pool compliance. For example, new projects, you need to have a 25% budget for hostings and API and all that. So those are the kind of compliance that each pool have. For marketing, you cannot have more than $5,000 budget and all. So we had to make sure that these proposals meets this pool compliance and all. And due to the new websites, this problem did not happen much, except in cases where in few cases where these proposals or the proposals themselves move their proposals from probably RFP into new projects. And when you try to move your proposal into different pools, it brings the problem where that your proposal in the previous pool does not meet requirements in the new pool where you are moving it into. So those are the kind of few cases where we had to have some ineligible proposal and others. And then during the second phase of eligibility review, which is after the submission ends, we were more like gatekeepers. So it's either a yes or a no. If you don't meet the 4 criteria that we had, you are not eligible, and it's just a yes or a no. It's not a rating or something. So at the end of the day, out of 210 proposals that were submitted, we did thorough eligibility review and came about 190 something, which I cannot really remember. 190 something were eligible at the end of the day. And during all this process, we were still, as Review Circle, reviewing milestone deliverables for previous awarded teams and making sure they are paid on time. And so it was more like the Review Circle was more like the most hectic circle during the entire proposing stage, the submissions, and at the end of submissions and all that. And we had to send mails to the proposals that are ineligible for them to know that they are actually ineligible, and stuff like that. So it's what the Review Circle has been doing during this eligibility period. And we are still open for feedbacks. We need if you think we are lacking somewhere, both in milestone reviews or this period of eligibility review and all that, we will need your feedback to make the process more seamless and better and accurate. And so it's something that we are looking forward to hearing your feedbacks too.
Thank you, Maya. We have so many hands up. So AO and UBO, I think you were first, and Gabriel, I assume that's a new hand. between Ayo and Ubio. Do you remember who was first?
Yeah, it's Ayo, but I'll beg his
Oh,
permission
I
for me
thought
to.
I thought it was Ubio. I thought it was Ubio.
Okay, all right, thank you. Though I thought it's you. So yeah, quick one before I engage in the conversation that we are having. Please, I have shared a form in the comment, and this form is to help us to. So this is a very different retrospective we are trying to do. So we are not putting categories of survey for you to click in. This is a whole no bar kind of survey where you are free to pour in everything the way you have it in your mind, the way you feel it. There is no, like, don't tone it down, like pour it down into that into this particular survey. So it's a whole no bars kind of survey whereby we just want to hear from the community in the most anonymous way, and we are not asking for anything. We just want to hear your opinion. So we are basically checking three things. What should we continue doing? And this aspect of the survey is about what you feel, what you think you like about DFR4, about the process and everything. So I would like you to express it the way you feel it, right? So imagine that Jan was standing in front of you, or just imagine this is the community, the same way you would want to pour it out and embrace, hug everybody and say it into that. Like, we just want to hear that. And then next in that conversation, we have what should we stop doing, right? So same way, I want you to be as elaborate as possible. What should we stop doing? What are the things you did not like? What are the things you think we should have done differently? Express it the way you would love to do it. There is no limit to the words or the characters or anything, just pour it in there. And then what should we start doing now? These are like, what are the suggestions you feel like we can bring into DFR5 that can make the community or the ecosystem or the process better? I think the work group would really be looking up to this particular aspect of the form in order to get insights on what they can add in to make a better process. And if you think there is any other thing that falls out of the scope of these three questions that we've actually arranged, please feel free to put in. So it's a very different kind of survey, but we are going to be doing a lot of analysis on it, both sentiment and every other stuff, to be able to pick out the rich feedback from it as well. So this is what I want to say here. Also, I would want to plead that we should share this form with every member of the community. Yeah. So this is not just for us here. Any member, take it to your different communities, wherever you find someone in the process, they should be able to express that anywhere, anyhow. Put it on people's DMs as well. People that you know, share this form with them. And also, the form is in two categories. We have the English and the Spanish. We're trying to be inclusive now in the community. So most things we are going to be doing will be taking this format. So, and obviously until we can add up other languages as well. So for those that are much more comfortable, you can write it down in Spanish so that, yeah, you'll be able to pour out your thoughts exactly the way it is in your mind. So this is it, and banking on you guys to help us with sharing this and giving us your true perspective in here.
Wow, thanks, Yubio, for sharing. Now we have forms in 2 languages. That's great. I love it. Ayo, I think you are next.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Judith. It's been an amazing meeting so far. Thank you, Rafa. I don't know who this question is most or should be directed to, but I noticed that the voting for the ideation pool was quite low. I mean, just looked like the proposals in that pool just did not meet up. I mean, if I remember correctly, it's supposed to be about 15 should have been funded, but a lot of proposals did not meet that 6.5 cutoff benchmark. Now, I'm wondering because I had a proposal in the poll, and I saw some of the comments that people asked me, and when they were voting, and I tried to, for example, explain that this is called an ideation project. For example, it means that when I'm proposing, when someone is proposing for an ideation project, it means that I want to find out, I want to know, I want to see. So people ask questions that looks like you are embarking on a new project, to say, so you have this figured out and you want to start. So so I'm wondering, could it be that people are unable to separate distinguish between what an ideation project is and what an execution project, a new project, is? And could that be the reason why because obviously it's the same set of people voted for other polls. So if you were reading a proposal from, say, marketing, you could very easily simply just read that proposal on what it promises to do and what it looked like it could do. But if you read an ideation proposal with the same expectation, naturally the ideation proposal will fail, because there's a reason the proposal is an ideation proposal and not an execution proposal. So maybe, I don't know, but maybe there's a need for some type of education. Maybe the review questions for the ideation poll, maybe they should be different. Maybe not necessarily directly usefulness or direct feasibility, or I'm just, this is just, for me, I'm just thinking out loud. So yeah, I don't know who this is for in all of the all of the circles, but yeah. So I just wanted to say.
Thank you, Ayo. Thank you. Yes, it's very relevant, and I can see from where are you coming. If it's an ideation proposal, it's not something like some new projects. It's completely, you are completely right. And definitely you mentioned what I was about to say. It's about education for those that are voting, right? If they are completely aware about the fact that the ideation pool is what it is, then they are going to give the proper weight for the when they are giving the scores, and we could have a different result in that. But the fact is, we have to rely, or at least we rely for this perspective of being decentralized, on our community as well. And I can say from my own expertise here during this time is that sometimes we have a lot of different types of backgrounds for people. There are people that prefer to learn from in one way or another, reading, watching, hearing, and so on. So it's very, very, very hard for us to, at this point, we are going to get there, but at this point, to have 100% process on the education part, right? We have guidelines where we particularly say, before voting, read the rules, understand the mission of the SingularityNET Foundation, the Deep Funding Foundation, and we give this as well for them. And they have to be, before voting, aware about what are each process. I'm not sure here that the expert reviewers had such an impact in the decision. As I mentioned, that we had 27% in the overall pools, right? One in the ideation pool, one of the expert reviewers' recommendation was selected. But the fact is, for instance, last round, we had all the ideation being selected. It's too soon for us to give feedback on this is what happened, and that's why only 5 proposals went through out of possible 10, right? So 15. So we do have to give it a double check, but it's very important, and thank you for your input, because this is also definitely being assessed, and more specifically in our work group for round 5, where we are going to propose some changes in the rounds. Okay, so thank you, and we are going to consider this input as well, perhaps doing a different process for ideation and etc. etc.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, we have Ubio and then Gabrielle, I think.
Gabriel, sorry, Judith keeps calling me up. Sorry. But yeah, I think the first one I didn't say what I wanted to say, so it's a little bit fair. What I wanted to discuss is so one of the hypotheses that we had in round 4 from the marketing pool was the idea that if we fund projects higher, we are likely to get higher quality proposals. So Judith, can you speak to that hypothesis? I mean, it's not a must anyway. I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm just trying to see how you feel about that right now. Do you still feel strongly about that, or based on the result and the process, do you feel any different?
What do you mean by if we fund proposals higher, they are better quality? Do you mean the better quality proposals are the ones that request the most money, or?
Okay, so what I mean, I think prior now, marketing pool used to be capped at $5,000. We improved it, we increased it to $20,000. I think we even the suggestion was more before the focus group stepped in. So what I'm saying is, what and the idea behind that was that in doing this, we are likely to get higher and better ideas, right? So I'm just asking, do you still feel that is the case? Do you still feel strongly about the idea that if we increase the cap for marketing pools, we are likely to get better output?
I don't think you can generalize that at all. I think it will be 50-50. I think some will submit really high quality proposals if you increase the budget, and some will simply try and take advantage of you and charge a lot more money for their little project that's definitely not worth that much money. I think it cannot be a rule of thumb. It has everything to do with the proposer and the person and their state of mind. The scammers will try and take advantage, and then there's some that will submit really high quality proposals if we increase the funding. I suppose it's an experiment. We'll have to do a few more rounds and experiment with higher amounts, lower amounts of fees, stricter rules, and eventually we're gonna figure out the process that gets us the best result. But that's just my opinion. I'm sure there's people that have a different opinion on it. Does that somewhat answer it, Ubio?
Yeah. It really does.
All right, Gabrielle.
Yeah, I was reflecting on what Tommy raised about being a businessman and talking about the ambassador program. Well, one other one was the Shark Tank events that has been an idea that Jan raised recently, could be used for the ideation phase. You guys were just talking about ideation projects. That literally could be a filter that goes through the Shark Tank, because you have a panel to review ideas. That's literally what a Shark Tank is about. So one possible connection there. Beyond that, the ambassador program, first of all, it needs better structure, in my humble opinion. But assuming that the ambassador program is functional and doing relatively what we expect it to be doing, it is the marketing arm of SingularityNET, more or less, or from a community perspective. I understand there's some core things that happen that the community doesn't necessarily even know about, but there's other marketing. But from a community perspective, the ambassador group is marketing. And so they themselves could be the community experts that filter marketing proposals that are coming for funding. First point, first idea. Second, the ambassador program itself is funded. Maybe that should come under the remit of Deep Funding itself. So Deep Funding funds the ambassador program, and the ambassador program acts as the community expertise to filter new marketing projects that want money from funding. And then what would happen is that the new marketing proposals come in and they get filtered and indoctrinated, so to speak, into being engaged with our community, because then their projects have to fit in specifically with the overall objectives and plans and optimizations that are happening in the ambassador program itself. That was the couple of ideas.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea, but I mean, the ambassador program, they are busy with ambassador program stuff. Like even suppose that they don't ever do anything, but they do get engaged in deep funding. But take out deep funding for a second, they're still very busy with running all the work groups and doing all the stuff, to the point that the foundation has said multiple times they should probably do more real ambassadors work and focus more on advertising SingularityNET and putting out content, but their ambassadors are really busy with all kinds of other tasks as well.
I agree, Judith, and that's the structure that I believe the ambassador program needs. And I think along with that improving structure, having them become filters, and having, if marketeers want to do work that promotes SingularityNET, they would become part of the ambassador program. So the ambassador program itself would get better structure by the fact of proposers joining the program to deliver those external facing outputs that you're describing. So the ambassador program would improve by the fact of it taking on new members that have funded projects to deliver external marketing.
Yeah, I suppose it's something you could raise in either the town hall or the strategy guild or the not treasury, governance guild. I'm not sure if, obviously.
Well, I think it's something. I don't think it's something to pass off to the ambassador program alone. I think it's something for us to talk about from a deep funding perspective.
Definitely needs to be talked about from both sides. I don't think any side can just make the decision on that. And in terms of the funding, currently the ambassador program gets funded by, well, they get 2.5% of the newly minted tokens, and it comes from the supervisory. I don't even remember fully.
Can I make one observation here? I think Tommy asked before, should marketing that is funded by deep funding, should it go to marketing of deep funding, of marketing of SingularityNET? And that comes back into this discussion. So the ambassadors are concerned about SingularityNET as a whole, and maybe even the ecosystem. Whereas Deep Funding has the goal of growing the decentralized AI platform and perhaps soon also help OpenCog Hyperon. So it's not exactly the same thing that we're trying to accomplish. We have 3 marketing entities here. We have a marketing part in SingularityNET. Those are just contracted, paid people, full-timers, a whole team, which is more than any of us. So I think they should be capable of doing SingularityNET marketing. They are helped by the ambassadors with multiple things. Ambassadors is really what I like about it, a bottom-up, a grassroots thing that is not hierarchically steered, but the ambassadors decide what to do. But you could say it's still directed to SingularityNET as a whole, whereas Deep Funding has a very particular responsibility to help the platform grow. Other than that, I do think there is some merit in the idea of having a group of people, whether it's the ambassadors or somebody else, and it could still be the ambassadors if we format and frame that properly, that will vet all the proposals coming in and define which ones are best. We thought about that in this round, but we didn't dare to do that really. There's always the question, when are you too centralized? And when are you too open? So if there is an entity, a group of people that decides this proposal is okay and this not, I'm sure there are proposals where everybody would agree, but there are also proposals where there can be discussion. Why is this not good enough and why is that one good enough? So yeah, I like the idea of thinking, I like the direction of this thought, like how can we filter this down? This huge amount of proposals. We try to do it through community expert reviews. We see that wasn't directive enough because or there was some mismatch between what the community thought and what the experts thought. So it's an ongoing thing. But the direction of trying to filter these 200 proposals and 50 marketing proposals specifically down to a smaller amount of higher quality that the community can then vote upon, I think is a really good idea.
Gabriel, did you want to add to that or?
No, it's fine, thanks.
All right. We have Ayo. Oh, you still have your hand up from before?
No, it's a new hand.
Oh, it's a new hand. Okay.
Yeah, I raised the left hand the other time. Now I'm raising the right hand.
Ah, okay. There we go.
Okay, so I want to this is supposed to be some type of question, but it's more from the angle that I'm intrigued or curious. Is more of that than that I need an answer. All right. So this is more. So this is like expression. This is not like, oh, I want an answer. I need an answer. So how does this work? I mean, I understand that there must have been serious series of conversation and thoughts about this. So I mean, I respect that. So I'm putting that up front. All right. But there are pools where the money is not used up. All right. And then, I mean, a couple of pools there. And then there are pools where the money was not enough. All right. So one thought is to say, could the money have gone to other projects? So this project meets the cutoff. I mean, got the required voting, but didn't have enough money. Then this pool, the proposals were really bad according to the voting and all of that. And so therefore excess money. And then that pool, the money just didn't cater for the next proposal. And so there was a little excess, all the reasons why, you could have, excess funds. So I'm intrigued as to why the excess funds did not go to the proposals that merited funding, but ran out of money. All right. Now, the other part, while I was thinking, is this: okay, so does this mean that, for example, the ideation pool gets to enjoy extra budget the next round because they have a pool that they didn't touch or couldn't reach, stuff like that. So, so like I said, this is mostly an intrigued, curious question, So I'm just wondering what the perspective was or is, and what the considerations are.
Yeah, I can quickly react to that. We consider that, maybe we even did that in round 1. I don't remember it anymore. That excess amounts was
round 2.
Sorry?
Round 2, we did this.
Round 2, yeah. It gets very complex very quickly, because you have to define in advance if this pool has money. Has money left, then in which pool will it go? Will it go to ideation or miscellaneous or what? And why is that? And you can have all kinds of configuration, 2 pools having a money left, etc. So yeah, that makes it hard. Also make it hard to put into rules and for people to understand why there's suddenly more money here and less money there. So I think it's an unnecessary complexity, to be honest. We have a certain amount per pool, and if there are not enough ideation projects that are valued well enough by the community, I think actually we shouldn't keep that money for the next round. If anything, in the next round, it should have the pool should have less money, because the community apparently doesn't care about ideation projects that much, because 80% of them they don't like. So I would say the next round, maybe we can have less money for the ideation and maybe more for another pool, but that's to be determined.
Okay, thank you for that. So that, I mean, thank you for shedding light to that. So if the logic that they pull that the committee has shown not to like be reduced in funding is totally really sound. I mean, I think everyone would agree, all right? But I don't think that the community should decide everything. I mean, from the conversations that we've been having, is clear that the community has to be guided, the community has to be educated, the community has to be helped. So that for me, I'm just the thoughts are just the thoughts just keep running around in my head. But I understand that one good thing is that if it reduces complexity, yes, surely we should do it. So yeah, so thank you. I have better understanding now. I'm sure other people do too.
Thank you, Heidi. So you make a really good point. The community should be guided. I would like to reframe it. So we need to have checks and balances in the governance process. We can't just follow. I mean, the first question you should ask is, who is the community? Are it the 200 people that voted? Probably most of them are related to a project. I don't think, I think of all the people that have tokens in our community, only a very, 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 very tiny number of people actually voted. I think the majority of people that voted had some affinity or relation to a project. Maybe a small percentage voted just because they think it's important and didn't have an affinity. But so that's the first thing. I've also been involved in supervisory council, and they created the blueprint. And one observation that I had there is there are a lot of very good initiatives and ideas on what we can do to improve the governance and the decentralization of SingularityNET in general, and deep funding in particular. The one thing that they didn't put any conditions to is the community. And I think if you are creating a program and you are giving a lot of increasing amount of authority and power, if you want, to the community, then you also have to set some conditions to the community. When is the community mature enough to do A, B, or C? And I didn't think about it, but I can imagine that you would say 80% of the voters should be not related to a project. Not sure how you would measure that or something, but that could be a condition, right? Because if 90% of the voters is related to a project, that's not, well, we can work with that as well if we know it. But then we have a different kind of program. So I would say if you create governance, I always say I have an idea where we have to go 3 years from now, but it's a road, it's a balancing act, and you're walking along a cliff. If I would today say, hey, here's the whole treasury of Deep Funding, you are the community. So basically it's your money. So let's have a vote on what to do with this money tomorrow. I'm pretty sure it would go wrong. It would not go in the way it was intended. I hope that maybe in 3 years or 5 years, or I don't know when, we will actually have created and nurtured a community with multiple levels, with checks and balances, with an ecosystem that may actually be capable of taking on such a responsibility. But we are not there yet. So it's a step-by-step process.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Judith?
Yeah, I was just thinking about what you both said in terms of if someone or if there's not a lot of funding allocated in a pool, do people maybe not care about the pool? But I'd really like to question it. I don't think people don't care about the ideation pool. I just think there wasn't enough good quality proposals in there. If it would be full of amazing proposals, then
yeah, which also comes down to creating a better community, right? That creates better ideation proposals that the community values. So that's one way, creating a better community, or creating changing the pool, right? So if we would keep the pool as is, then maybe we could make it smaller. The other approach would be to change the pool or the conditions or the rules of the pool so that we can assure that we will get higher level proposals then.
Yeah, I think changing the conditions and rules would be a good approach, at least I mainly focused on the marketing pool, but that would have definitely helped to create higher quality proposals. Yeah, the interesting conversation is going to be if we should, or who determines value for money, right? But I think a lot of us wanted to rate on value for money, and a lot of us felt like people are requesting too much funding, but it's also difficult to filter out proposals that we feel like they're maybe requesting or asking for too much funding. But then again, who determines what is too much and not enough, right? That's also very different.
One more observation here before Raphael. There are two ways of going about this. You can either say we'll put a lot of rules around everything, or you can say we trust in the community. And we don't need too many rules, because in the end, we'll leave it to the community to make up their own mind. That would work if you had 10 proposals, or if you have a very large and engaged community with people that are not affiliated with any project, but that will break down if you have a lot of proposals that nobody can go through on their own anymore. And then voters, because of that, perhaps also that helps, of course, that are affiliated with a proposal. So yeah, it's about finding the right balance there. Raphael.
Yeah, no, I go in the direction of Judith as well. We don't know what happened. That's what I said before. We don't know if the quality of the proposals were low, but it seems that we are considering that the voters were the problem at this point. It might be that they did their work properly and they checked the proposals and said, no, it's not a good proposal, so less than 6.5. And then this situation of, oh, we need to educate better. Yes, we need to educate better, but now we have spotlight days, we have rules, we have guidelines, we have voting helper, we have expert reviews, we have details page, community scores, we have a lot of supportive things that can support the voter and in order to go in the right direction. So we are assuming that they are not educated and that they voted wrongly. Therefore, only 5 ideation proposals went through. With that, again, we have to do more research in it, but it would be another point of should we then ask before the vote ask some questions to check if the voter knows what he is doing. Okay, if you want to vote in the ideation pool, you have to show here, answer this question, this question, this question. If you are right, then you are able to vote. We have the supportive things out there, right? For them to read and get to know. And take out the votes itself, it's an interesting perspective, but perhaps we should try to understand before what really happened, and then we take some actions in it, instead of just assuming that what happened in this sense. We can even ask them.
Mark here, I'm not saying that the voters
No.
ideation did the wrong thing. Actually, I very much appreciate that people also give low grades because that shows responsibility. So I'm not talking about individual projects. I don't have a clear view on all these projects and whether these 5 are better than the rest. I really don't know. But the principle that the voters do take the responsibility to say this proposal is below average, I think it could be seen as a sign of responsibility. So I'm actually happy with that behavior.
Yeah, I wasn't talking exactly about someone. I was just putting what I heard in the sense of education and so on. But yes, it's good that we have this better safe than sorry sometimes as well, right?
Gabriel, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I'm going to raise the thing again because we just took a while to talk about ideation. What if every proposal that wants to build starts off as an idea that is presented to the community, and it only advances if the community deems that it's a worthy idea, and that itself gives us opportunity to run this Shark Tank publicity type of event. And then projects could be funded for their idea, and then some of them who elect move on to the second round, which is whatever it is to build it or to do a commercial plan or justify the team or whatever it is. But all projects could potentially start off by pitching themselves as an idea.
If I can make a quick remark there, that is what we are aiming to do on the community-driven RFP process. It will start with an idea, and anybody can create an idea. It can just be a short idea. Then we ask people to write an RFP for that. There's a process there as well, maybe some competition. And then we go, so that really, what you're describing now really sounds like the community-driven RFP process. One more thing about the Shark Tank. I think the Shark Tank is very interesting as a gimmick and something to attract some people and a show. But as Ken, who left us here, but he pointed out in the messaging, and that's also a remark that I've made repeatedly. And the reason why we didn't do Shark Tanks from the beginning, or at least one of the reasons, it's not for everybody. Not everybody is a good presenter. Not everybody feels comfortable being in front of a jury and getting questions. And that doesn't necessarily say something about the quality of the proposal that they are wanting to publish. What I do think about, when it might be appropriate, if a team has completed their proposal and then they want to have follow-up funding for the next phase of their project, I think at that point you can argue, if you want to go the next mile and you really want to step up and make this in a successful project, yeah, then marketing and presentation is part of that. You can't escape it. And if you're not comfortable doing that, then maybe you should hire somebody who can do that for you. So in that stage, I think it would be, and it would also be a way that we can celebrate the people that have completed their project and the nice projects that are created out of deep funding by giving them that stage on this Shark Tank thing. So I think it's appropriate for some things, but not for all things.
Yeah, I'll respond to that briefly. It could be half and half. Half groups are happy to do it as a live event. It adds publicity to them. They might enjoy it, and there's a live panel. The other half could do their recorded video pitch, which we did in one of the rounds at least. I saw Ken present himself. I thought he was very good. I don't know if he was speaking about himself, but other groups, if they don't want to be live, they can record their video, and then the Shark Tank just does a critique or whatever of the video pitch idea, and so they don't have to all be live, but some of them could be. But still, it's still an idea that's going through community review.
The idea of a dialogue appeals to me. It also came up in, I think, the expert review retrospective or something.
How are the teams?
Sorry? Yeah, but also in the expert review retrospective that people said, well, would be great if we could have asked people questions. Or it was my personal experience there with the team that I facilitated, I don't know. But there is a desire. So you see 5 or 10 proposals and you have some doubts. And it would be great if that moment you could ask people and ask some critical questions, and that will probably give you a better idea of the quality of the proposal. However, it will also take time, and it's hard to organize with people in all kinds of time zones to come together. And so there are a lot of practical reasons there, but conceptually, as part of a deep funding round, being able to organize some kind of critical dialogue, yeah, I really like that idea conceptually.
Yeah, now we're just going to have to see how many proposals we receive in the next round. If it's 500 or 1,000, then we definitely need to increase the size of the community that can pre-filter and review on both.
Well, yeah, so a thing could be that you first have some kind of filter of proposals, and that you say, sorry to some proposers, and you say you don't make it to the next round, and the ones that do make it to the next cycle, that they will get into that dialogue system somehow to ensure, yeah, that there's something there. In the end, what we're trying to do, and we put a lot of money out there, and what we're trying to do is to make it count and make sure that not just for the money, but also for the network, and also for the future of creating beneficial API. It's important that we optimize the quality that comes out of deep funding. So yeah, of course, there will also always be accidents that somebody gets filtered out that actually is brilliant but misunderstood or whatever. But it's food for thought, and there's a lot of food for thought here. There's so many things we can do and change and improve. And I see Rafael smiling. We had some discussions already on that, and yeah. Sometimes it's a pity that we don't have a round every month, because we could go through this experimentation phase faster. But of course, it wouldn't work like that.
Oh gosh, every month.
Why wouldn't it? You're reducing the amount of the bottleneck of having to force through 200 in one go, and you're spreading it out, you're evening things out over like every 2 months or something, and you're only having to process 50 proposals instead of 150.
Well, I think a lot of the work that's related to deep funding is not necessarily directly related to the number of proposals. Some things are, but not everything. The whole range, from beginning to end, the deep funding route is 2 months at least, I think even more. Some of the things that we're discussing right now would easily make it into 3 months period if we would go through all these steps. So it would be a huge burden on us, but maybe also on the community that needs to be involved and engaged and give comments and ratings and expert reviews, etc. And there's also no guarantee that if we do fewer rounds, we will get fewer proposals. Maybe we just grow, maybe we'll still double on every round, but we grow faster with more rounds. Who's to tell?
But we shouldn't even aim for doubling the number of proposals. We should really aim for just higher quality. I would be happy with 50 proposals that are extremely high quality. I'd be happier with 50 high quality proposals than with 200 random proposals.
Yeah. If we have the magic formula on how we filter high quality projects, without being accused of being completely centralized again, that would be a great thing to have, and have something that people believe and that's reliable, that is real, so that people think, well, maybe 1 or 2 can fall through the cracks, but I think for 95% it's a right decision, that this is indeed the top 20 projects in terms of quality. If we have something like that wouldn't break the bank, then yeah, I would sign up for that.
Yeah, there is no recipe ready for that. We are building, and hopefully we are going to get there and say, hey, we achieved it. And then other programs, other institutions are going to use this on their behalf as well. But indeed, it's something that we would love to achieve. 29 selected projects. If we had only 30 high quality ones, and then only choose those. But I would like to address Gabriel. I see you mentioning constantly about the phased approach, and I have to say that I am also a believer in this phased approach. I even proposed myself before about having a process where only proposals to propose in the new projects pool, they had to go through the ideation pool before, right? And then you are able to coach the team. They are going to know what they are proposing, so the quality would be there. But then we decided to not go for it because it would take too long, because it would have to go from one round to the second round, and then potentially 1 year or perhaps less to happen. But then you mentioned about this, and I thought, interesting. Why not put all this in only one round, right? And make it happen. But then it comes with the situation where you just mentioned it. Why not reduce to 1 month if we can do it? But we have to put a lot of things into this cake, let's say, and we can't make less time for it, right? We have fixed variables, and we also have the flexible ones. So for instance, to write a blog, it's the same time to write a blog for 1 proposer or for 1,000 proposers. So we have this fixed time that we have to use as well in order to achieve the sweet spot in timing spending. But yes, I would like to say that I am also for the phased approach where we can go in a funnel, filtering until we have something. But again, the tricky part is we don't want to do this too centralized, right? Myself and Jan being the the gatekeepers and say, yeah, this, and now you can vote in this here. we want to make a process more decentralized as possible, considering everything.
Gabriel, you have your hand up, but really quickly, I have another event that I have to go to and I have to leave now. You're so welcome to keep the conversation going. I think Jan is already host, so it's not going to cut off.
Judith, thank you very much. Thank you so much for being the host here and before as well in the other town halls. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. It was a really good discussion, and I think this is one of the discussions that could go on for 10, 20, 100 hours. I don't know. It's just, it's good. It's interesting. But
good point. I think actually we should bring it to an end. We already overrun quite a bit, and we are in a habit of doing that. So it's an intriguing discussion, and we won't solve all these things today. But yeah, it's good to see that there are some like-minded people who are thinking in the same direction. So with that in mind, I think we are in a good position to bring this to learn and to improve every round and to find that golden solution that will help us to only have the real high quality projects getting in and also getting voted on.
That's right. Probably never will be a perfect process, but hopefully we can increase bit by bit, and every funding round gets just a little bit better.
Exactly. If that's the right direction we are consistently, if we can make a process and program that is self-improving every time, a little bit, a little step in whatever direction we think is best, then we are in a good place.
Also, the more attention we get and the more we grow, the more spammers we will definitely get, and the more people that are trying to take advantage of us and doing a quick cash grab. So we'll definitely have to come up with some improved processes. I'm assuming
I'm still very happy with the milestones that are only paid after delivery. It's not a complete full solution, but it definitely helps. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure we would have had more spammers and more issues with this. And yeah, so that's a good safeguard already. So that's one example of a rule that will really help. And maybe we can think of more incentives and rules and processes like that will automatically help service the best projects.
Absolutely. Good. All right.
Thank you so much, Judith and everybody else. And see you next time.
See you next time. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a good night.
Bye.
Good morning,
Bye.
good afternoon. Thanks for joining.